Welcome, everyone, back to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast. We're back again. A little break again, but now I think we're back smooth sailing for the rest of the year, right? We're what, 4 weeks into the season, so we finally got some, I think we're starting to understand what players are and how situations are. So today we're going to talk about waivers again. Like we've been doing a little bit different this year on waivers. We're not trying to get you always the top guy available every week because people always seem to know those guys. I don't know if it helps you as much. This week's a little different because I don't think there's not the top guy is not necessarily, there's not a big time top guy, which we talked about on other episodes is spend your money early to get guys. But we've been doing this. It's our third waiver episode of the year. We did one preseason right before the season started. And if you listen to that one, we brought up some names that have actually, they pan out at some point. And that's what the point of this episode is to get guys that might be kind of on the borderline of the radar. They're just sitting there. Maybe they haven't done a lot yet, but they can help you. Preseason, we talked about Devin Achane. And you know what? If you would have put him on your bench at that point, you might have got a little antsy and got rid of him. Hopefully you didn't, but that's the point I think of some of these guys is just keep them there. I like to hold guys a little bit longer just to make sure, just to see if they're guys you believe in. Achane was one for sure. Kyron Williams, he was another one we brought up, and he was behind Akers at the time. It worked out. Some of the receivers, we brought up Puka. Again, that worked. That worked out right away. So that was like nice you got your return right away. Other guys we brought up on the first episode, Marvin Mims, Jaden Reed. They've shown the flashes, so they're still not there. But those two, actually, I'm going to start with those guys too here. I think those are still players to have on your bench and not to drop yet. Mm-hmm. Marvin Mims, I just feel like there's going to be a breakout at some point. I really believe it. For what he's done so far is he doesn't get a lot of work, right? A lot of targets, a lot of catches, but every single time he makes it into something. So these are the games. Week 1, obviously there wasn't much, right? Two for 9. A lot of people dropped him. If you had put him on your team, there was a lot of people dropping him after week 1. Then he goes with the 2 for 113, 3 for 73, and 2 for 47. That's pretty nice. The problem is the targets are very low. He's only had, 11 targets on the entire year. You look at the production out of those. It's going to happen to me. I truly believe it's going to happen. Because what are you seeing from Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton right now? Not a lot.
No, and I'll make the point too. I mean, one of the big questions going into it is Russell Wilson. Was he going to be better than he was last year? And the answer is an emphatic yes. Whether or not that is going to convert to Denver being that good of a football team, we'll find out. But, through Wilson's first 4 games, I mean, there is enough yardage and touchdowns to support multiple guys. And Mims feels like a guy that is the deep threat, and he will have some big games, regardless of whether or not he becomes a guaranteed guy within, those 3 that you talked about. But 177 yardage and 2 TDs, 308 and 3, 306 and 1, 223 and 3. Wilson is good enough to support a third wide receiver.
I think so. And Mims was up to 35% of the snaps in week 4, which is his highest mark yet. He's gradually increasing. How many times have we seen this from rookie receivers? It takes a minute. And if this team needs a spark, why not go to this guy more and more? I think they're just going to increase. I think the snaps are going to increase. I think we're going to start honestly seeing something here from him. So I would be holding. If you have Mims on your bench and he's been sitting there, hold. Absolutely hold. I don't think there's any reason at all to get rid of this guy. And if he's out in there on the waiver wire, go get him. If you have bench spots, we're going to get some big Marvin Mims weeks. I just don't see how we don't. So I'm all in. Another one we talked about earlier, Jaden Reed. I still want to talk about Jaden Reed. I don't think Christian Watson was back, right? But Jaden Reed's still involved, and he gets looked at in the red zone a lot. They were looking at him against the Lions too. He didn't get a touchdown, but he's involved, and I don't think that's going to go away at all. I would still be holding out for him. Can they support 3 receivers? You got Dubs too, and Watson, right? There's a lot of them, but he had more targets, I think, than Watson as well. Even though Watson came back, I don't think Jaden Reed's going away. I really don't.
Yeah, I struggle with this one. Obviously, I like Christian Watson better. The question will be, does the offense continue to do pretty well under Jordan Love? He came out and he overproduced in my estimation, the first 4 weeks. And I do wonder if they'll take a step back a bit. But, irregardless of that, Jaden Reed is going to be in the plan, but I don't know how many targets he will get moving forward because he got 5 last week against Detroit. 7, 8, 5 going back. Solid. I mean, those can be good enough numbers, and I don't know if you're going to get another guy that has more upside because I do think that they're still looking for the guys that can really produce. Christian Watson will definitely get his fair shot at that, and we've seen it last year, right? And him and Dubs, Jaden Reed and Dubs, I don't feel like one guy really put himself over the other one yet. So I think that there's a lot of growth here. You might have to be a little patient with Jaden Reed compared to like Mims. I feel like that one is going to happen like you. Jaden Reed is a little more of a scarcity, but at the same time, like we're already talking about week 4, it is already getting thinner and thinner. So I do think that Jaden Reed is a very viable option if you have him or if you want to go out and get him.
I think he's going to get red zone targets. I don't think that's going away at all. So I feel pretty good about it. He's been getting, so first 2 weeks he had 53%, 56% of the snaps, and then he's up to 66, 67% of the snaps. So he had his highest percentage of snaps when Christian Watson came back.
Yeah.
So that didn't change.
And we haven't seen him get a lot of yardage in a game quite yet. But I do like what you're talking about. He does have 2 touchdowns that came in one game.
Yep.
But I do like the fact that they're not afraid to go to him, and we'll see what that offense turns into. I don't think we quite know yet.
So you can I'm going to bring up Michael Wilson, even though Michael Wilson is actually listed in a lot of places as the number 1 waiver pickup this week. Again, he's another rookie, lesser known than some of the others, but he scored 2 touchdowns, right? So that's where the hype gets there. My worry with Michael Wilson too is the team. They're better. Cardinals are better than we expected, I would say, right? But it's still Josh Dobbs. How do you feel? He's playing. He's a starter. He's a starter for the Cardinals. He's playing. He's doing well. I'm not sure if he's like a number 1 waiver wire pickup type guy, which was actually on a lot of lists this week, which is odd to me.
I mean, I think more than anything, it shows how thin it got immediately after 1 week. First of all, I'm all for fab budget. If I wouldn't use my number 1 waiver wire pick on him, I probably wouldn't use a top 3, top 4 even. I think this is a stopgap if you absolutely needed one, but I don't see this turning into anything.
I think he's an interesting player. He's a guy I would like to throw on the end of my bench too and see what it is. But yeah, don't go throw. It's not a guy where you're going to spend a lot on and use type waivers, your first waiver type thing on him. But a lot of it's because I don't love the situation. I just can't see it sustaining itself. But if he had no hype, I'd feel better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Very
like
true.
If there was no hype at all and people weren't talking about it at all, I'd be like, hey, throw this guy on the end of your bench and see what happens. If you don't have to pay anything to get him, do it. I'm fine with that. 100%. I want to bring up Wan'Dale Robinson. I was a big Wan'Dale Robinson guy last year and he got hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been back. He came back in week 3, first game back. He's finally back. He only played 11 snaps in week 3. That was it. So very low number of snaps. He had 5 targets in those 11 snaps. That's interesting to me. 5 targets and only in 11 snaps. This past week wasn't as good. He played 48 plays, so 64% of the plays. He still had 6 targets, 5 catches, 40 yards. He actually ran the ball once too. That game was an ugly game, but it seems like he's involved in coming back. He's getting involved right away. They need something there. They need some kind of spark. Nothing's happening with the guys they have right now, the other guys. Wan'Dale Robinson, I could see an uptick coming. I've loved the player. Situation in the team, how bad the Giants are is worrisome. Yeah.
I agree with you, though, because I don't think that he's getting a whole lot of love. And I like the fact that you grab him now, you can wait and see. And once again, I think that's the difference. The hype is low compared
Very
to
low. Yeah.
The other guys we mentioned. So I do like that one. I think this guy's couple dollar or whatever you want to do and throw him on your bench and find out, because no one's going to be excited about a situation. But I feel like someone does have to kind of emerge out of that offense.
You think so?
And the fact that he's getting rushing as well.
They have to get better than them playing, you would think.
You would think.
We'll see. I'll throw Jaleel McLaughlin out there, even though he's definitely going to be, he could be the number one waiver pickup of the week. It's him or Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Javonte was hurt. I don't know how I feel about this one. He had 7 carries for 70 some yards. Not sure. Samaje Perine's there. Javonte, I don't know the status yet, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, this is a guy who's going to clearly go for some more this week because the waiver is so bare.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be up there, but I
just not. I don't know.
I mean, I feel very, because they were against Chicago, right?
Yeah.
I don't have it. I was going to say that Chicago's defense is really bad.
They are.
So I would like to see one more game. You're not going to get the ability. He did what he did. You either have to pay for him or don't.
Yep.
I personally think, once again, I think he's intriguing. He's interesting. There's a lot of room on that team. But if I had to be a betting man and I say he did it against Chicago and you have a lot of competition there, will he be is this going to turn into a thing? I would probably say no. But once again, I'd throw my bid out there. If I get him for cheap, great, find out. Otherwise, I don't worry about it.
I'm going to throw out Tyjae Spears again. I love Tyjae Spears. Again, it's not a player to do anything with right now.
No.
He's about 20%, I think, rostered. If Derrick Henry were to go down, I think Tyjae Spears is going to be really good. That's the difference. I don't think there's a lot of those guys out there that are a lot of handcuff type players out there that'll be really good if their starter goes down. But I think Spears is that guy. I really do. And I don't understand how he's not on more rosters.
I agree. And if you have Derrick Henry, I think right now you go out and get him for really, really cheap, Tyjae Spears, because you absolutely want him as that handcuff.
If Derrick Henry went down, how, like, Tyjae Spears is going to be number one waiver wire. People are going to be saying you're spending 75% of your budget on him. If that what would happen if that were to happen. So go get him. I have Derrick Henry in a league. I have Tyjae Spears behind him because just how do you screw around with that? Go get Spears. The last guy I'm going to throw out today. I'm not done with it. I'm not done. Kadarius Toney. I just want to throw it out there. I'm not done, Jeff. I'm not done. I'm still like. There's this like little bit of hope. There's a little bit of hope. I saw him getting involved this past week, and they're putting him in motion a lot in the backfield. A lot of little interesting things, and he had been hurt again. He hasn't missed any time, but he was hurt, and he had limited practice work up for the week. But I'm just not. I don't know. And part of the reason I'm just not done. It's because, I don't know, I'm still like reliving that one game his rookie year where he was so good. But nobody has stepped up for the Chiefs. That's part of my reason with that too. Nobody is stepping up. Rashee Rice, I guess I could throw it here too, just because someone's going to have to at some point, right? Somebody has to. You would think, but maybe they don't. Maybe they don't.
Waiting for them to trade for someone because no one is. I think you're right. I mean, no one has stepped up, and they've gotten better, but I just relived that week 1 where you're kind of like, if Travis Kelce's not in there, he doesn't have a go-to guy. He doesn't have anyone he feels comfortable that they're going to catch the pass when he hits them. So
Toney wasn't not catching
no,
he
was
the first
dropping
game.
Everything.
So yeah, I get it.
But I get where your head is at because you're kind of like, okay, if I can grab any of these guys cheap and then they hit, great. So once again, you're mining for gold in that one because but I don't know why I see a trade or something coming, and I know Casey is kind of already locked down.
Most of those other guys we've talked about, I want on my bench over Toney. I want Mims and Reed and Michael Wilson and Wan'Dale Robinson probably, to be honest, just because
Toney would be very far down.
Toney is not playing many snaps yet. You just wonder if that'll change. He's week 1 he played 16 snaps. Week 2 he played 19 snaps. Week 3, he only played 2 snaps. And then week 4, he played 17 snaps. So he's not playing a lot. The highest percentage of snaps was 28 so far in the year. I'm just not going to shut the door yet.
Yeah, I know. You're looking at the team and you're like, okay, which one is the most gifted wide receiver if they can pull it together? And Toney would be up there.
Man, I feel like There was that one game, man.
I know, but there's a reason why New York didn't mind moving on from him.
I know. It's hard to.
But I was there with you. I mean, if anyone could have pulled it out of him, it was KC. But man, I don't know. He's had a rough beginning. But I guess I'm not completely off the bandwagon of at least one of those guys.
Yeah.
I was still kind of like Justin Ross.
I'll throw Rashee Rice. I'll just say because he is playing more snaps than Toney. He's hit only 50% though once. His targets were 5.2, 7.5. Those aren't bad for a rookie. I don't know. Maybe no one steps up other than Kelsey. Maybe it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I really feel like someone has to hit, but we've thought this in the past too when you're kind of like maybe someone other than Tyreek.
Maybe he doesn't have to.
And it never worked like that.
Yep. All right, those are all my guys. You got any others to add to that or?
No, I mean it was really bare.
Yeah, it is this week.
Yeah.
All these guys that we're talking about are just like, I mean, I'm not sure who you drop for him. If you have a question, let us know. Go to Instagram or email us, fantasyfootballprofit@gmail.com, and be like, hey, I got this guy on my bench. Should I drop him for Mims? That depends. Because I'm not just saying just a blanket, get him on the end of your bench. It depends on who's there.
Without a doubt. And I still like, out of everyone we talked about, I think Mims and Tajay Spear, because I think they have the biggest upside.
Spears should be on rosters. Absolutely.
And I understand because he's not going to, eventually he'll get more and more, but he's not going to be startable. So you are burning a bench spot on someone that you're hoping for an injury, which is a terrible way to do it. But
before we sign off, I'm curious about his snaps here. I want to see this and how he's been playing, which again, he's playing way more than any other running back has ever probably played with Derrick Henry. No one else has.
That's not really saying all. Well, I mean, okay. Yeah. When he became officially Derrick Henry. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Snap counts. All right. So not bad. Week 1, he played 54% of the snaps. Week 2, he played 37% of the snaps. Week 3, he played 56% of the snaps. And week 4, he played 53% of the snaps. He's out there.
Yeah.
He's playing. So he's not right now like flex worthy, but he's on the field. He's playing. You could see it change a little bit. So Tajay Spears, honestly, out of all these guys, should absolutely 100% be on a roster. It's like, has to.
Yeah.
So, all right, that'll do it for this week's waiver wire. We'll talk to you guys next time.